Welcome to our 13th film at Beer Me That Movie. What happens when a couple falls out of love and into a cannabis farm with a gassy bowl named Ferdinand?
Let's find out.
Can you believe we've already made 13 feature film ideas on Beer Me That Movie, and you're watching our 13th happen right now as Harrison and I figure out what the heck we're going to do with Joint Resolution.
Yes.
From DC Brau Brewery, which we just picked out of the previous Fast Five episode.
Woo.
My name's John. Next to me is Harrison.
That's right.
What do we want to let them know, Harrison?
Subscribe to us somewhere. Follow us somewhere. Tell a friend, a neighbor, an enemy, a lover, an ex-wife, whoever.
I like the cashier person. Whoever's checking me out, I find a way. I'm like, have you heard of that podcast?
That's right.
Beer Me That Movie?
They want you to talk to them about stuff that you care about. They definitely want to hear about your day and your life. Please.
Also, my husband loves these pineapples.
Have you had them? What, a whole pineapple?
Don't watch the video. The guy looks like me. It's creepy. So we do this every week. We bounce between looking through your check-ins on Untapped to find beers that we're going to turn movies into. And this week is a special episode because we're actually turning one of them into a movie.
That's right.
So thanks for subscribing, clicking to watch, clicking the heart button, or one of Harrison's favorite things is when you send him pictures of beers you find, be it in the grocery store or out at a bar. Maybe we'll include those on a future episode.
I'd love to.
This one is going to be a tale as old as time.
A song as old as rhyme. We got to stop. Copyright.
A time as old as lime.
Perfect. Lime as old as a rind, which all limes have. And then it starts again.
They're grown at the same time. Therefore, they're as old as the rind. Although the rind probably comes later.
A little bit.
That's a question of when is conception.
When you see, is it when you plant the bush or when you see the fruit?
This is not a political show.
Not at all. It's a fruit show.
It's sad even that is a political issue, not a real issue. But anyway. So yeah, we like to have a little bit of fun, as you may have known. And so we're just going to kick this off. We're just going to start making a movie in front of you.
That's right, as we always do.
So, okay,
Throw down.
The name we get from a beer we pulled from one of your Untapped check-ins or one that you've sent to us. The name of this, Joint Resolution.
So fun.
And I think it was a perfect... I had no idea what it was going to be, if I remember correctly, but Harrison loves a good pun. His left leg is made entirely of puns.
That's right. I wish there was a fun pun to say about left legs, but that's the name escapes me.
Because it's
running.
Yeah. Anyway, so the name is called Joint Resolution. We determined in the Fast Five that it was going to be based on a couple that's going through a divorce and has to like split up their cannabis farm. Hence Joint Resolution.
Jokes, puns, we got
already there. Harrison's leg just got an inch taller.
That's right. It's going to be tough. My hips will be out of place, but I'll be happy.
His right leg is made of lies. It's super short.
Right. Sure. For now, it's growing as we speak. This is going to be fun. So yes, that's kind of right. So they get a divorce, got to divide all the assets up, and one of them happens to be a pot farm that they both don't really know much about, and so they get to learn about that and see what happens next. So we're going to figure that out right now.
Okay, so I always like to start with, like, if I was going to tell you about The Lord of the Rings, I would probably begin by saying it's a story.
Sit down, get comfortable.
Do you have a pack of beers?
Feet up. Right. I'm going to tell you about Lord of the Rings from memory.
Honestly, that's a bad example. There's a lot of characters to cover. If I was going to tell you about The Dark Knight, I would tell you this is a movie about Batman. Batman's cool as hell. And the whole movie is cool as hell because it's mostly Batman.
And the
so,
Joker.
and the Joker, who maybe the best Joker ever. No offense, Joaquin, but you couldn't hold a candle to.
Yeah, I know that's a great movie, obviously. Yeah. So this one, okay. So let's start at the beginning. As some stories do. This one will. And you've got these two characters, as is tradition. And we joked that like Paul Rudd and maybe I think Kristen Wiig is a great option, obviously.
Yeah, in my head,
but in your brains,
in my actual mouth, I may say Paul Rudd a few times.
I will too.
As we're mapping this out.
But tradition being what it is, the Paul Rudd character is going to be played by, Paul Rudd will play a character that's going to be named Brad H, because Brad H checked in this beer. So thank you, Brad, for Joint Resolution. You get to star tonight.
And you can tell your friends there's a Paul Rudd movie.
That's right, on the internet. And if you don't watch it and just listen to it, they won't know that Paul Rudd isn't. I guess he could be standing in the room with us right now. If you're
tell them to start right now. So we review movies that a lot of you haven't seen.
This one will come out 2028. We hope. Okay, so we got Brad. Brad is the husband in all this. His wife. Let's give her a name. John's the captain of Name Island.
I'm that title.
The prince of pun leg. Whatever I am. But John's
Peninsula off the island.
That's right. Just hanging out there.
So let's name his wife something. So we got Brad, very like American guy, worker name, cool, easy.
Sure.
Let's give his wife she's gonna play mostly a homemaker.
I like that
in this film. As the wife of a working man. So let's give her a name like Mandy.
Perfect.
Something that, she'd probably babysit one of your kids if you grew up near the Rudd family.
Right. Also, I like Mandy because Mandy is almost a name of like maybe Mandy was a hippie before she had kids. That's an on the line hippie name for me. I don't know why.
No, you're not wrong.
Mandy's one of those names. Now I'm thinking of Mandy Moore, which is very different than a hippie. But let's throw that away.
This Mandy was like a free spirit.
Right.
Like she and that kind of. That might have seeded, like they met. Brad was he went to school. He got a law degree.
Yep,
he was very career minded. He met Mandy, and she was the part of his life that was missing.
Yes.
Like she was fun.
100%.
She was joy. She was
spontaneity, right? Excitement. A little bit got the spirit of a banana whale in her for sure.
A banana whale that maybe he ended up with.
There you go.
Through that, and she, there's concessions that have to be made. She was like, Brad's a great guy. He's funny. He takes care of me. I don't really align with the whole 9 to 5 thing all the time.
Right.
But if he wants to do that and we get along,
right.
They grew together and started a family together.
Yep. I love it. As we said, tale as old as time. And that's not uncommon, right? It's kind of, you make that agreement as a couple and you hope for the best of you go punch the clock and I'll punch out some babies and we'll do this thing called life. And I'll take care of the house and you take care of making sure the house isn't taken away by the bank. Because you have a job.
And we'll have dinner together while the kids are around.
Right. We hope. Yeah.
Try and have a weekly date night.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I see the backstory of this. This isn't like a really contentious divorce. This is almost like maybe we can say more real, where it's just like two people that like kind of the wedge of time just keeps growing between them as like, Brad gets promoted and more time away and the kids are growing up and getting busier. And so Mandy is getting home later and they're kind of become ships passing in the night and, kind of Brad's a shell of a human and kind of feels like he's not there with the family and not experiencing the life he thought he was going to live. And Mandy's every day moving further and further away from that fun, free-spirited life she had, which again, that's kind of just part of growing up, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Shackled with some responsibility to the kids, to the household.
Right. And the reality of that and that happening for, let's say, 20 years, like it's very, very real. And they just kind of grew apart to where they're they're almost strangers or roommates living together. And that's kind of where the story picks up. I'm almost imagining kind of a funny kitchen scene where they're, both trying to get around each other and keep bumping into each other in the kitchen and spilling the coffee on each other's feet. And, where's my lunch? And I put it in the thing where I was put it. Where's that? I forget. You always forget. Where are the keys? Where you left them? Like, they're kind of, right, like an odd couple.
Brad's been pushing ever since. So they've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Inconsequential. They've got 2 kids, like most people do. 2.2, I think, is the average.
That poor 0.2.
Right.
Just covered in
That's
blood,
the middle child.
limping along.
You count as 0.2. And Brad, like, for the whole life of their kids, he's always put them kind of second to his career. He's been pushing to make partner. If he can make partner, they can have vacations in Italy. They can have summer vacation, holidays. But he's got to keep grinding. So, like, the whole life, Brad's been put, and he's kind of maybe getting close to it.
Yes.
But the kids went from like having dance practice to okay, your son's graduating, he's the salutatorian, are you going to be there? I really got to be part of this. Got a big proposal thing we're doing with law
big
stuff,
case and big
law
things
words,
and fancy this and that and juries,
paperwork,
and
contract,
late night Chinese food,
jury. It just seems like you drink whiskey till 10.
Right. I'll sleep at your desk and do it all again. Well, maybe I do.
That's part of becoming a partner.
That's just what it means to be a lawyer, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Not the public defender. Those guys work.
Yeah,
but...
exactly right. They do. And it is just Chinese food and blended whiskey. Woof. Okay. So, all right. So we kind of see this. So it's 20 years on in this marriage. The kids are kind of leaving the house and they're both kind of, maybe even like, there could even be some scenes with like Mandy and her like neighborhood other mom friend, and then Brad and his work buddy, each confiding in their kind of friends, acquaintances, whatever they spend a lot of time with, almost, of like, I'm kind of terrified of being an empty nester. Like Brad and I have grown so far apart. I don't know what we'll do with our time, and blah 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 blah. And it could even be, I think the bigger point here and the whole divorce thing is it's not malicious. It's more just like maybe someone just suggests to both of them like, well, quiet divorce is a thing. Like people do it all the time. They raise their kids and they realize they want to live their lives, and that looks different now. You've done the tough stuff. You kind of owe it to yourself to live your life. So go and do it. And maybe this is a thing. God, I hope I didn't just create quiet divorce. And now
divorce rate has gone up
just a million families have separated, realizing, oh yeah, I could just go do this. Well, whatever.
But I mean, I think this makes sense logically, and I like your idea of introducing like a storytelling mechanic where Brad's like, yeah, the kids are actually, our last is going off to college, at the end of the month, and we're gonna finally have some downtime together. What do you want to do? Honestly, I don't even. We haven't been on a date in 10 years.
I can't have dairy anymore. She can't have spicy things. We used to eat cheese and jalapenos until we passed out. Now we can't do any of that.
I really want to hike this trail in California, and that's not Brad. That's what Mandy wants to do. Yes. But I really want to get partner.
Exactly.
That's all I care about.
Right. Brad's very locked in, and obviously Mandy's feeling lost. Which again, this happens all the time. We need to talk about it. It's a big deal when kids jump out of the house and you think, my God, what the heck am I going to do with my life? So this is the path they kind of go down. It's like, let's just go our separate ways. We did it. We raised 2 great kids. We like each other enough to be there when their car breaks or when they have the first grandchild or whatever.
Yeah, like an amicable parting of ways. And I think this would come from Brad as the logical person.
Sure.
Like they're not bitter against you. They've had their arguments and everything, but they don't hate each other, but it's just now they want different things and they're not held together by the kids.
Yes.
So Brad is still going to work on becoming partner.
100%.
Mandy's now free to try and
figure out what she wants to
do something fun once in 2 decades.
Right. Exactly.
So I think Brad would just say, he's like, look, I think we did our best. I still love you. I think you're a great person, but maybe we'd be better off just kind of going in different paths.
Right. and Mandy kind of disagrees. So I think so that happens. So they get this divorce, and it's rushed through because Brad's a lawyer and he can make things happen or whatever. And I think this is where the story, obviously the incited incident's about to happen here. That kicks off this chain of events that is joint resolution. So they're going through kind of the judge is going through all the assets or whatever about you get this, you get that, and they've, again, amicable. They kind of ahead of time went through everything they own together, and we're like, you take this car, I'll take this car, you get the boat, I get the dog, whatever. They do all that. And the judge is looking through it.
Brad's not a divorce attorney.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's not, but he gets it. He just after that class in law school, he knows what to do. And again, everything's going swimmingly, they think. And the judge kind of looks up over his glasses, though, and is like, I appreciate how calm you are and how civil this has been. But I'm curious why you didn't talk about the farm and who gets this and how that's working. And I think different from the Fast Five here, a little wrinkle that I think will be fun is from the original idea is I think the pot farm was like unknown to them and maybe like gifted to them as like an inheritance from an uncle or something, and neither one of them knew about it. In the chaos of raising kids in life and chasing partner, that letter they got from the distant uncle of, hey, you own this farm now, thanks, never got to anybody, never got opened, just got stuck in that pile of mail everyone has in there,
to the fridge with a magnet.
right. Gotta call that guy. Gotta call the estate guy back. So it just never happened. So they're both kind of like shocked, but then both immediately got a Brad in his mind is like, ooh, that's a big thing, money making. I probably could figure out how to manage that or staff it or whatever. And maybe Mandy is like, ooh, a project, like something to do, like this sounds great. And so maybe that's the first time where everything's very amicable. And then the farm is brought up and they're both kind of like, I want it. Yeah. And then the judge is like, okay, well, you're gonna split everything else down the middle. Like, I'm gonna give it to both of you, and like that's that. And maybe they get a little, upset about that or whatever. Maybe it's left even on as a cliffhanger where the judge doesn't decide that day. Like, come back and let me know what you guys are going to do about this when you figure it out. That's probably good because it gives them a reason to go check out this farm they didn't know about that's like fallen into disrepair. So let's leave it like that. The judge is kind of like, you guys got to figure out the pot farm. Class dismissed. Boom, or whatever.
I want to introduce like a mechanic for a little bit of urgency too, where the like maybe this is it's a movie judge, right? This isn't the 100%. Judge you get for a speeding ticket, and
not a real one.
And he kind of plays that out a little. He's like, look, the farm. Give me a minute. He goes to his chamber. He's like, all right, so the farm's actually up for auction to the city. In 90 days, and right now it's because it's in a state of disrepair. It's deemed a hazard, so the city's going to have a right to claim it. I'm not going to give it to either one of you. I think you guys need to figure this out as part of your agreement. Come back to me in 90 days and before 90 days and let me know what you're going to do. So now there's it puts a little bit of pressure on them to figure out what they're going to do with this farm.
Yep. I like that. It could happen then, or they could even go and sneak to the farm and then both discover that the other one was sneaking into the farm trying to figure it out, and they got to fight over it, and maybe both will go back to the judge being like, I want it, and then the judge is like, grow up. You got 90 days. City's taking this thing, so it forces them to work together. Though that's the takeaway. I like that. It's like let's now we have to.
They're not inheriting a Domino's that's fully functioning here.
Right? Yeah. We got cracked irrigation pipes. We got dirt, a bunch of dead crops. We got old machines and no one to work it. Like, it's basically a dusty field with millions of dollars of potential. They got to kind of dress this thing up a little bit.
And this is nice because it gives kind of a level set playing field. Instead, I think in the Fast Five, it was like a family already owned the farm.
Right.
So now, Brad's an attorney, a lawyer, a pontificator.
That's somebody who predicts the future. I think a litigator.
Sure. Yeah. Brad's a professional white collar businessman.
Yeah.
And he's and you're right, he sees the potential for money making. This could be a legacy to feed the family even after he's gone. It's a good opportunity. And Mandy's like, I've been kind of forced to be a slave to this family for 2 decades. I want to do something that's a little fun.
Right, exactly.
We elaborated on Mandy's kind of free spirit. She's maybe a little bit more familiar with cannabis than Brad is, even though they shared it together at some points.
I'm sure.
Mandy's like, we could turn these into edibles. We could turn this into an Etsy business. It could be like a crafts little farm / dispensary where we could bring jobs to the village. Like, Mandy's got big plans for this as well.
You can see it all.
And neither of them has the upper hand, really.
Yes, absolutely right. And I think what's a funny wrinkle in this is I feel like we've seen movies like War of the Roses with Michael Douglas and, oh man, I'm going to be mad at myself for not remembering her name.
Catherine?
Yeah.
Zeta? Jones?
No, not that one. But I think her name is, oh boy, whatever. We'll look
I think of Money Pit.
Money Pit, the other one, right? Exactly. But a lot of those movies, like, they hate each other. I think what might make this funny, but still, contentious is like they don't hate each other, they just like don't know each other, so it's almost like two strangers going into business together where they're like, again, it's that awkward thing of them bumping into each other in the kitchen all day. Now it's just doing that on a farm all the time. So like that'll be a fun part of the movie, I think. It's like, okay, now they're forced by the judge to kind of work together. They barely know the current versions of themselves.
Yes.
So like, and now, and also never worked on a farm, like never, like exactly. Brad's been in Brad's been in an office building that's air conditioned for 20 years.
Yeah, he's got his like his fancy suit. He doesn't have the blazer on today, but he's got like a white button down.
Right, I like that.
Starched.
Exactly right.
How hard can it be?
Right, exactly. Bought some tennis shoes from the local Kohl's because he didn't know he needed boots. We're outside, right? I can run around in these. This is an outside shoe. And meanwhile, right, Mandy, again, similar thing. Her job has been to run and manage the family, and now out doing manual labor. They obviously have skills from both those jobs they can bring to it, but it's all a comedy of errors for the nice chunk of the movie where, right, they're, turning the irrigation system on, it's blasting water and knocking people down to the ground.
Brad's like checking the hose as Mandy turns it on.
He grabs that and just trying to ride like the Tremors worm, trying to ride the hose and not break his back.
Is this part like mostly comedic, or does it instill a little bit of like, oh God, stop messing with it? Like, is it?
I think it's both. I think it's right. It's alternate almost, for like Mandy's laughing at Brad because she put him in a bad spot, and then Brad does something like, he goes to like to town, and like actually Mandy's like shoveling, trying to till the field manually. Yeah, and Brad's like, nah, doing that, and goes like buys a bull from a local farm and like sits down behind it sipping lemonade.
I love that he's using a bull.
Tractor.
A bull, not a John Deere, not an ox, not a horse.
They don't know a lot. He's like, I saw a movie once. I read a book as a child. I know I can put
I'll take that bull. What you doing, cowboy? Tilling a field, you fool.
What do you think I'm doing with the bull? Making cheeseburgers?
How do I hook this up to the plow, and like easy money.
No returns. Yeah, I know. I got a whole field.
You're going to need a two-way plow for this bull.
The bull is going to be a bigger character than I think we all realized about 10 seconds ago. So I've got a bull to feed now who's angry, knocking down fences. Right. Brad thinks he's got it figured out because it tills the field, and then it just takes off through the woods and knocks down the neighbor's fence. And Brad's like, oh, fuck it. Now Mandy's laughing. So I think it's a back and forth of like each one of them kind of messing up and screwing up and laughing at the other. And, it'll get to a point where maybe they, again, have to go to like the farmer's market to try to sell some of their crop, where it starts growing. And they're like, holy crap, we're doing it. We did something right. We got the irrigation to work. We got the bull Ferdinand or whatever his name is.
Definitely Ferdinand.
To actually till in a straight line.
She got him a little like red handkerchief to wear around his neck.
I like this.
He's nice to Mandy, but he
100% hates Brad.
That's visioning Paul Rudd getting dragged through a field.
Exactly right, by this till.
Their crops grow, and it's like, this isn't This doesn't smell like wheat. Yeah, these are actually green beans. I think French Northern might be the term, but so they've got like half green beans, half
Right. There we go.
half cannabis growing.
Love it.
They don't know anything about it. It's a miracle this happened.
It's a miracle anything grew at all.
Plants generally grow.
Right. Exactly. And it could maybe culminate in like their first farmer's market where they both are like proud, standing at their table covered in dirt and sweat and, not looking appealing at all to consumers who are trying to decide, do I buy this product or not? So they've got some things to learn there about marketing.
But you're right. This is like, I mean, for Paul, this is like his manual, or for Paul Rudd, damn it. for the character named Brad, played by Paul Rudd. This is like his first like manual labor. He's got like a Walmart like Kid Rock cowboy shirt on, tucked into some jeans with the biggest belt buckle you can find.
Yes.
He's got a little like wheat straw coming out of his mouth. Been farming for a week and a half.
Spitting on his own pants. What are you doing there, son?
He's got like a roll of crushed up $100 bills in his mouth. Mandy also proud though. Like I made this, and now I'm contributing financially, like I used to have Brad do all the time.
Right, and that'll be a fun scene of like them at the table, kind of all proud and stuff, and then people keep maybe walking by, and they maybe sink a little bit of like, oh god, that's where we actually got to sell this stuff now. And they get their first customer walking around, and they're both like kind of grabbing each other, like, oh my god, is this the one? She's looking at stuff, she's reading her pamphlet, she's asking questions. Is she gonna buy this? And she's like, yeah, I'll take a whatever, a bunch of pre-rolls or whatever. And they're like, oh my god, for us, for real, you want to buy from us? And
how about some green beans?
Yeah, we canned them. Ferdinand helped move the canner. And so so there's success, sales are happening, and they're and they embrace, they're excited about this thing they did together, and then they're like, oh wait, we're divorced and I don't listen to this person, and they resisted at first.
A hug, but it's like
but it's exactly that oh yeah moment,
like we're celebrating our business, but
what are we doing here? Right, we're business partners, let's keep this professional. I know we're excited, I know you're excited, but let's remember why we're here and what we're trying to do and all that stuff. So things are good, but it's now getting a little complicated.
I don't know if maybe now is not the time, but at some point they have to kind of say like, hey, do you think we should try this stuff?
Oh yes.
Like cause a couple people ask you like, oh, is that indica or sativa? And I kept answering whatever they said last.
Right.
Yep. That one.
Right, exactly. That's great. After the farmer's market, they're like, that's a lot of questions today about how it made you feel. And I we haven't even tried any of this stuff. We should probably do that, right?
For science.
For science and the business. For the business, right.
Which would be a hilarious scene.
Oh my gosh, exactly.
Paul trying to remember how to roll a joint.
Right.
Mandy poking holes in a soda can.
Right. Yes.
Somehow through
this worked.
a trial of failure.
Probability. Yeah.
They finally find a way, maybe through an apple, because they're on a farm.
Sure, plenty of those, I hope.
They're watching YouTube.
Ferdinand is eating them. And
I keep calling him Paul.
It's fine.
Sorry, Brad. Just know that your character was really influenced by Paul Rudd.
That's right.
Brad's like, all right, I'm watching on YouTube. Manny's poking a hole in an apple. They take a couple of hits. Hilarity ensues.
Yes.
Like what?
I love it.
What type of? Maybe they start playing music. They're looking through they're probably staying at the little farmhouse.
I agree. They're probably at the farmhouse. They're like, what should we do? What do we used to do? We listen to music, right? Like, oh yeah, let's do that. And they like try to open their phone and connect to Bluetooth, and like that's a colossal failure. Like, what is it? Why is it called Bluetooth? Whose teeth are blue? What's wrong with this person? So
Paul's music's all like classical Beethoven that he listens to. Mandy's got like Taylor Swift or whatever. They're like, this isn't the vibe of
horrible.
How do we find good music?
Why is she so happy? Why does she keep dating the wrong guy? Right? I'm sorry, I feel so bad.
I'm on manual breathing now. I have to focus on that.
Right, exactly. It's weird how much we breathe, isn't it? We do it all the time. What a dumb design. Who made these bodies? Right. So they're having fun, high thoughts. Maybe they decide to like, all right, we got to get out of this house. We can't be here anymore. Let's walk to the drive-in movie theater, and that's a half mile down the road, but it takes them the rest of the day because they're just taking tiny steps.
Hold on, I'm gonna go get some snacks. next.
Carrying around for things. I think I have to throw up or go to the bathroom. I need to be alone for a little bit.
Pretty sure I peed my pants. Honey, did I pee my pants? I mean, Brad, did I pee my pants?
Exactly. Can you test this for me?
Just get like with under the influence of a good medium bad sales day at the farmers market, and some of the effects of their new cannabis crop. Some of that their old selves creeps in a little bit
exactly.
in this show. Which is good. It's a movie, so you want to have that kind of like, we're already getting into the good, but we're not even halfway. We're just at the halfway point.
Exactly right. So, of course, it's usually when the ground falls out from underneath somebody's feet, or something changes, and maybe it looks good at first, but then it ends up being not what's good for everybody. So I think this is a good point to interject something like that. So they're having fun, they're successful, the judge is happy, they're happy together, they're maybe falling a little bit back in love, and of course, boom, Brad gets a call, and this is it. We've been talking about the whole movie, Brad. It's that time, so and so's retiring next month. I'm excited to tell you, it's your time, Brad. You're making partner. You're getting it. It's yours now. It's a lot of work. I know you know this. I also know you're gonna crush it. You're preparing. You're preparing forever, but it's yours if you want it. Let's end the fun little vacation on the farm. Get back to the city.
Nice.
We've got a lot of cases here that are piling up with old Jeb retiring. He's been slowing down for years. We need to pick up his slack right away.
It's gonna be Tursky and Rudd.
When you need a law firm that takes things personally, you need Tursky and Rudd. At Tursky and Rudd, they don't just practice law, they dominate it. Whether it's in the courtroom, the break room, or anywhere, they always come out on top. Tursky and Rudd, because winning is everything.
Disclaimer, Tursky and Rudd is a fictional law firm. Any resemblance to actual firms is purely coincidental. Please consult a real attorney for actual legal advice.
Got a good ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah. It does. Oh, that's great.
So I love this. Paul
Rudd is playing Paul Rudd in this movie. He says no, he's going to be embarrassed.
I can't do it. I love you for checking this in, Brad, but I'm trying my best to honor your name, but I apologize in advance for all the times I'm about to continue messing it up.
You've seen Paul. We thought it'd be a few times. I think in the past 5, it's every time.
Yeah. So Brad gets what he's always wanted, and it's not like Brad's old flame comes to the farm to work. It's not necessarily anything bad, but it requires change. This was Brad's goal.
Exactly.
This is why he grinded for 20 years. This is why they were going to they did get a divorce.
Exactly.
And I imagine like Brad maybe there's a moment where he's like, last night was fun,
right.
But then he remembers the bowl that getting sprayed with the irrigation machine. Right. Half of their crop is green beans, which is effectively useless. Like he could still make a few bucks on Mandy's hard work, but if he's partner, it's guaranteed his kids will have success. Like this is
20
what he's
plus years in the making. I mean, this is everything he's worked on. He's sacrificed all this stuff. He's sacrificed his life basically to get to this. And so so he's going to go for it, and he can definitely do the noble thing here of like make the decision of sitting Mandy down, and she's still on cloud 9, and she's probably convinced that like, oh my gosh, things are happening between us, and this is what I've always wanted, and I didn't think I'd ever get it, and now it's happening, and he has to deliver the news of like, hey, I got great news. And again, to Brad, it's like, I've got the best news, and Mandy's like, so do I, and maybe she's ready to be like I want to give it another shot or something between us, and she thinks he's on the same page as her, and we can even do that thing where Mandy's like, I have great news too. I've had doing a lot of thinking. And he's like, all right, well, let's at the same time say the great and he's like, I'm leaving for partner, and she's like, I'm in love with you.
I want to get back together.
He's like,
Wait, what?
You're what? You're leaving for what? And he's like, you want to get what? So something like that happens, but he's already made up his mind. He's like, no, I want you to have the farm. Like, you love this. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It suits you. It's something you can do, and it's not, changing diapers and making 9,000 bologna sandwiches. Like, this is yours, and you're great at it. And
I mean, Paul's a lawyer, so they're pretty savvy with their words.
Sure.
But also, I think this helps Mandy realize, like, she doesn't need Brad to give her this 100%. Farm. She doesn't need Brad to be a part of it. It was nice having him there to help and everything, but really, Mandy's been having more fun than she's had in 20 years, and she can do this on her own.
Yes, definitely can.
So, I mean, while it sucks to be reminded that, we're going our separate ways, and that's what you always wanted. I think it doesn't like deflate her. I think she takes this bull by the horn.
Ferdinand by the head.
She's like, you know what? This is great. Good for you. I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna turn this around. This is gonna be my opus. This is gonna be my second half.
Right.
So she's excited about it.
Right. So, or at least puts that front up to Paul. And now maybe they both walk away because he's like, oh man, what am I really walking away from? And she's like, gosh, did I push him away harder than I should have? Like, was there an opportunity for him to say no? And I kind of quickly was like, it's good for you. This is what I want. This is good for me. This is good, partner. And like, they shake hands or whatever. And so what follows is that kind of part of a lot of movies like this where Brad gets what he's wanted, but now that he has it, is that what he wants? And he's sitting now in an office again, and maybe day one he's happy to be in air conditioning and celebrates that. But by
telling everybody about the farm work he's done.
So, why do you smell, Brad? Why do you smell like poop?
I was riding a bull.
I told you about Ferdinand. I was sleeping in the barn every night. It's great.
You ever ridden a bull there?
You're right.
Tursky never rode a bull.
So we get all these fun stories, but by day 3 he's kind of missing the farm and looking at his phone of pictures of it, and just starting to kind of again come to that realization of like all this paperwork and going to trial, and I've done it for 20 years. Like, why did I want this? What did I think was going to be here that wasn't already a part of my life, and what did it cost to get it? And he's having those big thoughts, and but trying to push him down. And then he hears, this is like kind of I think propel the rest of the movie and influence a lot of tough choices that have to be made. But maybe he learns or gets a letter, gets a call, whatever, from Big Pharma, Big Pot, whatever we want to call it, some competitor.
There's definitely a big cannabis in the legalized states.
Okay.
There's cannabis companies that have control over everything from growth to distribution, just like Budweiser, right?
Yeah.
The Budweiser of cannabis.
Okay. So maybe he learns or gets a message from them of like, and with the mechanics, we can figure out whether they, didn't fix the farm up in time, or maybe there's some kind of like bill or some loophole that these big cannabis lobbied, or if anyone has just a farm license for a grow op, then like we can come in and if we offer more than 10x their worth, we automatically get to buy it or something.
I like
a takeover.
I love this. I'm going to twist it up a little bit and say that the letter goes to the farm, which means Mandy gets the letter, and she sees the farm is going to get put up for auction, and Big Pharma's going to bid on it and probably pay more, and she'll end up having to lose the farm. So she calls Brad at work and gives him the news, and it's kind of heartbreaking. And she's like, "Can you, you're a lawyer, you're going to be a partner.
Yeah,
I'm not asking you to like help me buy the farm,
right?
But is there anything you can do?" And then Brad goes into the farm lawyer, and he's like, "Hey,
bird law guy." guy, right? The farm law guy.
I'm an expert in bird law.
Different offices.
I need to talk to the farm lawyer. Charlie, is he around? No, Phil's on lunch. Talk to the farm lawyer, and he's like, oh yeah, a case like this happen all the time. We see it in dairy, we see it in corn. Starting to happen a lot more in cannabis. There is a way, and that's where he brings up he's like, yeah, there's if you guys are a family farm, then you get preference over keeping it,
right?
But you're not a family farm.
Right.
You're a sole proprietor right now. You're not
Brad's like, what do you mean we're married? And like, no, Brad, you guys are divorced. Don't you remember? Oh, yeah, right.
You took your ring off.
Right, exactly. So he has that moment of even forgetting kind of what life he's living right now. Still that residue of the great farm experience kind of just in his brain. But he's like, oh, right. But I love this. So that's kind of loophole that helps them or could help them if they were a family again, legally. Maybe that can jump in the way of this oncoming freight train that is Big Pharma that's already basically like, we've got the money, we've filled out the paperwork, like we're coming to pay you and take this farm, like you take the money or not, but it's ours.
Yeah, effectively,
us, unless
this would probably have to be explained through a couple of cutscenes in the film, but like effectively they're going to lose the farm to big cannabis unless this loophole is exploited. And I think we don't have to, but I love the idea of Brad like sitting down with Mr. Teskey, and Rudd.
Perfect.
Tursky, Mr. Tursky. And saying, and having like a heart to heart. He's like, look, here's what I am. Here's what I'm thinking. I've been gunning for this my whole life. You've been a mentor to me, and I'm honored about the privilege of adding Rudd to your name to your
Brad Rudd
names. But I gotta ask you, like, come clean with me. What do you think I should do? And I think Tursky at this point becomes a hero in the story, where he says, like, look, kid, I'm on my fourth wife right now, and it hasn't always been grand. Honestly, I most of the time I forget her name. He's like, I'm a successful businessman. We got our family name. I'm proud of that. But I can't tell. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you. Sometimes it keeps me up at night wondering, would I have been happier in that 2-room apartment with Genevieve, my first wife, that I actually did love.
Right, exactly. It's oh man.
And I like this way, like someone's telling Paul what he. Damn it!
It's kind of
telling Brad. Someone's telling Brad.
Right.
Damn it.
Right. It's impossible to stop. Paul Rudd just gets in your brain. You can't stop seeing his cute little face. I know, but I love this. He's kind of like the ghost of Christmas past or present or whatever. He's that cautionary tale, which is exactly what Brad needs right now to be like, oh my God, right? Am I too far down this path? And maybe we can even do a quick kind of not redaction, but a quick edit here of like perhaps Brad doesn't know about the family farm law yet, but he has a phone call. He just calls his wife and he's like, look, like this is okay. They're not trying to take the farm. They want to buy it. Like, you're going to get $500,000. I'm going to get $500,000. This is going to be the best thing to happen to both of us. Like, we don't have to worry about how the kids are paying for college, and we can, do what we wanted to do. This is
finally go on that hiking trail in Costa Rica.
It all worked out. And she like starts to cry on the phone, and it's like, it's not about the money. Like, I finally feel like I belong to something that's mine. Like, my whole life was kind of serving other people. And this farm is something I get to do. And I can't believe you'd ask me to like leave it and walk away from this too. Like, all you do is think about yourself. You never think about me, yada, yada. And she's absolutely right that he is kind of zeroed in on like always making this a plus and a win for him, and not thinking about like, well, what are you, again, everything costs something. What are you giving up by taking this $500,000 or whatever this payout is?
I mean, this isn't even movie magic. This is like real life. There's someone that wants to earn money. There's someone that wants to have fun.
Right.
Or you sometimes are ships in the night.
Right.
This is gonna
get everyone in America all teary-eyed. So he probably has that conversation first, has the conversation with Tursky about it, kind of resets his brain a little bit, and then maybe I think it's a good time to have him learn about the family farm loophole, so he can kind of be like, aha, all right, my former wife, but person I really care about, Mandy, she wants this here to keep the farm. here's a way of doing it, but holy crow, we just got divorced. Do I really have to go propose to my ex-wife to keep this farm? Like, he's obviously got to wrap his head around that. Like, does that what I want? And, you know, there's a lot of soul searching happening.
And I like, so the Tursky mechanic where he still kind of gets to play father time and share some fatherly advice with.
Love it.
Who's he
played by? I have one. But
in my head, it was Gene Hackman.
Oh, wow. I think he's retired, but a great, maybe we can get him out. Get you out of retirement, Gene.
No one retires forever.
I watched, this is not a dig, I watched a movie with Dan Aykroyd in it recently. Dan Aykroyd's become an older man.
Oh, wow.
Dan Aykroyd as Tursky
Dan Aykroyd as Tursky is great.
And he can lay it on with some funny little some relish on it on these stories he's sharing with Brad.
Oh my, yeah, I'm picturing his character from Tommy Boy.
Right there, you go. Oh my gosh, no, come on, stand up. What's what's his name? Oh, my brother's
the King of Mufflers.
King of Mufflers. Stan. Yep, we'll put it in here somewhere.
Yeah, there's probably a picture on the screen right now.
Oh, I love.
I just wish I could remember his name.
Son of a gun.
And so we've kind of like led Brad to water.
Yes.
And giving him this out. It's up to Brad what he decides to do. And this is where I'll ask for your help as a viewer of Beer Me That Movie. In my head, Brad leaves the office shortly after he discovers the farm bill loophole and the conversation with Tursky, but we don't really know what he's leaving the office for. Do you think, should we know he's going back to the farm, or does it really matter? I don't know, but I'm having a hard time deciding. Like, I don't want to telegraph that Paul learns and he's leaving and we know he's going back to the farm.
I think it could even be,
there's got to be like a cold blue moon night where he has to decide this for himself.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Sure. Well, I think it could also be that scene that's, again, it's a version of this exists in many movies, but many great movies where it's Tursky is in the courtroom ready to try a case, and the other assistants there, and they're sitting behind the table waiting for the judge to show up. Judge shows up, and there's an empty chair there that Brad's supposed to be in to help prosecute this case, and the judge is like, are we waiting for somebody from your team? And Tursky just looks to the door, looks at the seat, and kind of looks out the window, and maybe sees him running away, or maybe sees nothing, but just kind of like looks at the door, and the door shuts, and he smiles and is like, I don't think we wait for him today. I don't think he's coming.
That's one. And then that's what I was looking for.
You can proceed, Judge, with the blah blah blah, and then they get started. So he's right. So he's off. Brad is off to the farm to go reclaim his former bride and save their their cannabis empire from evil faceless corporation guy who wants it for nefarious things. We can all safely assume.
Yeah, and Mandy's probably been, outside of a few phone calls, maybe only a week has gone by since Brad left to go back to the city job.
I like that.
But Mandy's been dealing with the farm and the repeated solicitation from Big Cannabis.
Yep.
And she's probably like kind of at her almost at her wit's end. Like, she's out in the field, she's looking at the green beans, which are growing beautifully.
They keep growing. I like this. I want the green beans to keep growing.
Ferdinand really well. Eating some of them.
Sure. Everything's really gassy, but they're still hanging out together.
And maybe the farm isn't even doing bad. Like, maybe the farm's doing good, but she's like having to come to terms with,
it's all
what am I going to do when I just get bought and now I'm like the assistant manager?
I just fell in love with this thing again. Now I got to lose it. Like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm 50 whatever. Like, I gotta, I thought this was it. This is once again, the future I thought I was gonna have is now gone and taken away from me. And so she's angry. She's definitely ticked off about it. And then there, in his sweet Paul Rudd face, Brad shows up at the end of the dirt driveway, or maybe she just goes to check on Ferdinand one day to feed him some green beans, and Brad's just sitting in there talking to Ferdinand, and she's like, what are you doing here? Why are you back? And that's when they have that big lovely lovely moment that's in a lot of rom-coms where he confesses and apologizes, like, I was absent with our family. You pretty much raised our kids yourself. Like, I was chasing this dream and I finally got it, but it cost me everything. And, I love what we were building here. I don't know why I was so quick to run away from it. And they have that nice, happy,
I want to be business partners with you.
Right.
I want to maybe even be more than business partners.
That. Right.
And then he farts.
Exactly.
He blames it on Ferdinand.
Exactly right. Quiet down. A lot of beans in here. Right. You've been eating them too, haven't you? I don't know. Maybe Ferdinand shared some with me. But yeah, so right. He tries to play it cool, unsuccessful. But I like the idea of maybe turning this on its head a little bit, where Mandy catches on and is like, I know what you're up to. And maybe I guess he would have to explain, like, look, here's how we save this thing. And
she's like, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to lose the farm.
Exactly. Like, this is over. Like, it's great that you came here on your not your white horse, but your brown bull to save me.
My brown bull.
Right. My brown bull. He hates you still. And she's like, but like, what can we do? Like, you're a lawyer and you said this was it. And he was like, well, it's not. And he hands her the family farm bill exemption.
I talked to Charlie, the bird law guy?
Right, exactly. No. He's in the same broom closet as the bird law guy. He's our farm law guy. He's great. He smells horrible, but he's really smart. Smells like Ferdinand does. You'd like him. And so she looks at it and she reads it. She's like, wait a second, but this wouldn't work because we're not. And then, like, Brad's smiling and she's like, oh no, I know what you're thinking. Like, last time you did this, you look like an idiot. You fell in the fountain when you tried to pull the ring out. Like, like, if you're this crazy, I'm gonna one up you. And maybe she, like, proposes to him in the moment, and Ferdinand's there farting and eating. Creepy.
They both end up taking a knee to propose. They bump into each other.
Yep.
The ring falls.
Yes.
Ferdinand poops on it.
That's right. Oh my God, Ferdinand!
I'd like to marry you again with a different ring.
Right, exactly right. We'll just let that one be here. That's Ferdinand's ring. He can enjoy it.
Put it through his nose.
Right, there we go. This huge 3-carat diamond ring in this smelly bull's nose.
He plowed the whole field. Well, one long row in the field.
He did it once, and he did a really good job breaking down that fence. And all he does is just eat the green beans. Because I did buy a tractor, because I did read a book about farming that wasn't published in 1850, right?
These days.
So they get remarried and whatever, it's fun and happy. Big Pharma loses, and I like, this isn't needed, but like, they have their happy life now. The kids are grown, they're empty nesters, they have their farm. It would be funny if, like, the pesky little green beans, they were like, this thing is so annoying, if, like, in that small town or nationally, some wacky scientist guy is like, we can power cars on green beans now. It becomes like the ethanol of the future, and they have this, like, super rare green bean crop,
like heritage green beans.
Exactly right. That grows twice as fast or twice as hard, or gets twice as much fuel out of it. So they've got the marijuana thing, or the cannabis empire is built and taking off, but they also fell backwards into another kind of gold mine. So they're even more set for life, and that's not necessary, but I thought it would be fun if the green beans had some kind of payoff.
Green beans and Ferdinand are like the subplot to this movie.
Right, exactly. Or maybe it just runs on specifically bull poop that eats green beans. That creates the right kind of menthol, or the ethanol, whatever it is.
Both.
All that stuff.
Probably.
Methane to power all of our cities. So maybe they're gotten even more than they can chew. But regardless, yeah, we have a nice now people who know who they are, know what they want, kind of become people again, and not just like hamster in a ball for Brad and robot servant for Mandy. Now they're who they were when they first met. Kind of that she's back to being a bit of a free spirit, and Paul's just dreaming big dreams. Brad. And yeah, Ferdinand's got the most expensive nose ring in the state.
Unlimited apologies to Brad but not really. I mean, like, if you're going to get confused with anyone, Paul Rudd is a sleigh.
Winner, chicken dinner.
And so this is I think this is a great story. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's the story, like you said early on, this is going to influence 1 million extra divorces. But maybe there's a time where you realize you're not so connected. If that happens, get your ass kicked by a bull,
That's right.
try farming,
Get down to the dirt.
and spend some time with each other,
Right.
not doing
stuff.
what you normally
Right.
are like shackled into
That's
doing.
right. Put the reels on your phone down and go pot a plant, and maybe you'll remember what living is actually like.
But not the Beer Me That Movie reels. Stay tuned
Yeah,
for another
watch all
Fast
those.
Five next week.
But that's it. We did it. We did what? Joint resolution.
Joint resolution. Aptly named and created. Thank you, Brad and Paul Rudd, for helping out so much.
That's right. Until next time.
Peace.
Punch. And
Give me your lunch.
Huzzah!